Welcome everybody to our demo. We've got NOLA Aikido with Brian Sensei right here, Aikido of New Orleans with Arturo Sensei, that's me, and the Tulane Aikido Club with Ted Sensei. First, we're going to start off with some forward and back rolls on the diagonal. Those are.
Rolling is part of how we stay safe in Aikido. We take turns playing the role of the attacker, and the attacker receives some kind of peacemaking technique, which leads to either a roll or a takedown, where you get pinned. In these cases, our students are showing rolls, and now they're going to show knee walking, shiko in Japanese. Forward knee walking, backwards knee walking, spinning knee walking, come from a time when you had to stay lower than the emperor. So you had to be able to do all the defensive and martial arts moves from your knees. Anybody who spent time in Japan knows that still a lot of things are done in seiza, in knee sitting, or low like this. So we can do a lot of our techniques from that position. The next thing we're going to show is everybody's going to be showing footwork. Just how you move your feet and the position your body is put in can allow you to redirect an attack and make peace. We'll start with Tenkan, turning and stepping back. Go ahead. Tenkan. Turn and step back. Turn and step back. Step, turn, and step back. This is a movement allowing you to enter behind an attack. Not just turning and redirecting, but actually going behind the very person that attacked to be able to then further put them into a position where they either fall or are pinned and are hopefully not injured, but you are also protecting yourself and anybody else in the vicinity. This is the first exercise in Aikido, one that even after decades is still really interesting. We're going to start in Gyaku Hanmi, or same side grab, turning behind the partner. Basically, it's about taking perspectives. And instead of just, when somebody grabs you, fighting with the grab or trying to force your way against the attack, you take the perspective. You turn to see what the attacker is looking at, and then you can redirect them to a place of safety. And once you're behind the attacker is going to move because you're in their blind spot. It's very simple. Nobody can stop you from doing this. You're always free everywhere except where you're attacked, which is always a limited place. There's always a lot of parts of you that are free. And Aikido studies that freedom. It's kind of a study of how to be free under pressure, which is pretty amazing and pretty helpful in daily life, which is one reason many people keep practicing beyond just how much fun it is on the mats. Okay, thank you everybody. The next thing we're going to do is Arturo Sensei and Razan are going to show the importance of getting off the line of the attack. When the attack arrives, you don't want to be there. So first, Arturo Sensei is going to show what happens if you try to duck or do something you might think would be helpful initially. But as you see, ducking doesn't get you to safety. He still gets turned into two Arturo Senseis instead of just one. He tries blocking with his arm, probably ends up in the situation Luke Skywalker was in with his father in one of the early movies. Maybe he doesn't quite get all the way off the line. He saves himself except for just one extremity. He's still got one more arm, so it's good. Okay, that's some of what you don't really want to do when you're being attacked. And now, with Arturo Sensei in the role of the attacker, the Nage, Ted is going to move off the line to safety, using some of the very footwork that we showed you shortly before. He's just sliding and turning in various ways. There's variations of that footwork, but basically just turning with the attack, sliding and getting out of the way. no matter whether the attack is a strike or a jab. Maybe one more. And thank you both very much. Next, we're going to call on Lauren and Razan and Chris and Mike to stagger themselves on the stage to the two corners and show Aihamni Katate Dori Ikkyo, the very first actual technique. Crosshand grab, the elbow rainbow technique. And there's two versions. One version of this technique, like many techniques, you go in front of the attacker, and one version you go behind. So they can show both, maybe one of each. Turning behind the partner. That beautiful spiral. Aikido has a lot of spiral movements, just like nature, just like an eddy in a stream, just like weather patterns with the wind. Lots of these spiral turning movements, very natural movements. Taking turns. We always take turns and we help each other to learn. We take turns being the attacker, we take turns being the peacemaker, the one doing the technique, the nage in Japanese. Beautiful movements, keeping the partner in front of our own centers, right in our natural power. You don't pick up a heavy box far from your body. You don't deal with an attack far from your body, far from in front of you. Okay, one more and then we'll bow to our partners. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to call on our next pair. Thank you very much, y'all. I'd like to call on Erin and Lauren. In this case, Lauren is going to be the attacker, the uke. Erin's going to be the nage, doing Aihamni Katate Dori Shiho Nage, Omote and Ura. Lots of Japanese for basically a technique that looks like a sword. You're basically raising and lowering the way you would a sword. A lot of Aikido was inspired by sword practice. Some of it was inspired by jujitsu or joint techniques. Some by staff work, using sticks, stick fighting, but a lot of it comes from swords. You can see how she's raising and then cutting, taking good care, going at a speed where they can learn together, not going like you would in a dark alley at 3 a.m. Taking care of each other. Thank you, I'm getting laughs from my own gig. That's great, feel good. Thank you both very much. Calling on Joyce and Teddy now for yet another technique. Thank you all, you can certainly. Joyce and Teddy are going to show another level of complexity. The techniques are forms or patterns. This is called Katate Dori Uchi Kaiten Nage Omote and Ura. This is like a rotary throw. Kaiten Nage, a rotation throw, like kaiten sushi on a conveyor belt that goes around. This is kaiten nage. It's like a turning throw. And this one, Joyce goes behind and she's going to decide where there's room for Teddy not to roll off the stage unless he signed the waiver for the park. Okay, good. We're not used to practicing a foot off the ground or a meter off the ground. All right, so then Teddy is the nage or the peacemaker. Joyce is the attacker giving the energy for the technique. Notice the beautiful posture that they're working on. They're in this narrow Aikido stance because we want to be a small target like in sword work. We don't want to be a big target like as if we were going to be trying to kick or punch as the solution to the attack. We're trying to redirect, harmonize, taking care of ourselves and our partners. Thank you both very much. Okay. Next up would be me.
Brian Sensei and Keith. A little more further in the program, we start to get into freestyle technique. This is called Jiuwaza. So Brian Sensei doesn't know what attack is coming, and he just has to respond with the spiraling movements to throw Keith. Oh, that was familiar. That was the Shihonage that they just practiced earlier. Keith practicing the rolls to keep him safe, and then they have switched, or they're going to switch roles. The attacker becomes the peacemaker. The peacemaker becomes the attacker. Again, freestyle. They don't know what's coming. They don't know where it's going to go. And then continuing with freestyle technique with Laura and Brian Sensei, more Jiuwaza. You can see how Brian Sensei is redirecting the energy of the attack, often with spiraling movements that you can use to take the person down to a place of safety. The techniques end either in a throw or a pin and a mobilization. And then switching roles, making sure we keep each other safely on the mat. One nice thing about Aikido is it's not dependent on the strength of the person doing the throw or the size. People with really low centers can be very powerful. The founder of Aikido was, how tall was he? He was 5'2". 5'2". You actually have an advantage when your center is lower. And those of us who are taller have to practice bending our knees to get down.
And on that note, Arturo Sensei is going to show some freestyle from his knees. Hami Handachi Waza, half standing, half seated, i.e. the attacker standing. And like I said, in Japan, lots of things are still done from kneeling position. So, and as Arturo Sensei said, it's not about who's biggest and strongest. That was a move that the founder used to do a lot. I forget the Japanese word for it, but you make yourself like an island that the partner has to, you surprise them by being sort of right there, owning your space, and they have to roll over you. And they're taking turns. And of course, both of us have shown some high falls. Arturo Sensei and myself and some of our students. Sometimes we take back falls, sometimes we roll forward, sometimes we flip in the air. We do high falls, which are really fun. Whether you're 20 or in your mid-50s like I am, or we have people doing it in their 70s. And Aikido is something you can continue to practice and progress at any age, and you can start later in life or very early. We have 3-year-olds and 73-year-olds practicing. All right, thank you both very much. Actually, I would like to also send in Keith. I'm gonna surprise them. I know they're not prepared, but now 2 people attack. What? Yeah, sorry. I meant to tell you we were gonna do this. I like this. Aikido's about being ready for any surprise, so including 2 attackers. So even on this small area, look how Arturo Sensei is sort of able to use the 2 attackers as shields, and maybe just a little more. There's no way to attack if one person loses their glasses. Aikido is very courteous. We tend to give them their glasses back and then let them attack again. I mean, you can diffuse a lot by politeness. But anyway, continue to notice where they're positioning themselves and they're finishing up that moment. Thank you very much. We're gonna do one more thing, which is, in Aikido, we also practice disarming weapons, which we use wooden weapons usually. Wooden knives are called tanto, wooden staffs are called jo, wooden swords are called boken. We're gonna use today a padded wooden sword, same kind of idea. Arturo Sensei and I are gonna do a couple of sword takeaways, tachi-dori. Surprised him again, he didn't know this was coming, just kidding. All right.
Tap.
Hey.
Thank you all. Domo, arigatou gozaimashita.